I feel like I should say like space, the final frontier, but that sounds kind of corny, so I'll just put it in the intro sequence instead. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Star Trek Resurgence. It's been a long time since I've played one of these narrative-driven, choice-based, pick-your-own-adventure style games. Probably, as late, going as far back as Walking Dead Season 1 by Telltale Games, and that was my sophomore year of college. So the only difference now is that I'm almost 30 years old, and this game isn't made by Telltale. This game's made by Dramatic Labs, and they did a fantastic job. And it shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Dramatic Labs is made up of a bunch of former Telltale employees. So, what a twist. But I've always enjoyed these narrative-driven games because they actually make you feel like you have control over the narrative. I feel like a lot of games love to give you the illusion of choice. For example, like they'll hand you a gun and be like, there's the bad guy. There's the bad guy we've been chasing the whole game. He's killed millions of people. It's now on you. Do you want to kill the guy or spare his life? And you're like, I'll spare him. And then somebody else just barges in the room and shoots him anyways. So it didn't really matter what I chose. I despise the illusion of choice, and I absolutely love games like this because at the end of the day, it's all down to you. It's all you. Everything that happens is your fault. So let's get started. Let's talk about Star Trek Resurgence. It actually follows the story of two new residents aboard the USS Resolute. One, a lower decker member named Carter Diaz, who enlisted a long time ago to see space and escape the mundane trappings of just, being back home on Earth. And I don't mean a long time ago. He is a younger person. And the other, Jara Rydek, a new graduate who's already been like a first officer on another ship, who is stepping down from her combat, actual like space exploration vessel to join this smaller research vessel, the USS Resolute. What I love about Jara is right away they gave her a physical and social disability. And you're like, what happened? So she is half Kobliad, and I don't want to explain too much, but basically her species that she is half of has this disability, this health disability that is easily maintained, but everybody is very aware of it because it's on her face. It's literally on her face. Not the disease, but the signification mark or that identifying mark of her species is literally on her face. So everybody is questioning her about her disease. Is she okay? Do you think that she can be trusted on in high stress situations? What happens if we don't have the proper medicine to take care of you? I thought it was really smart to not, just have her be the snooty upper decker or some sort of fresh individual. Instead, we got somebody that kind of has this disability, which I thought was kind of cool. Not only that, we get two different viewpoints. We have the upper decker viewpoint and the lower decker viewpoint through Carter, which is really cool. I know Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the show that I absolutely enjoy a lot, really goes over that kind of social ecosystem, that whole idea in much more satirical form, but it just goes to show how large of a vessel like that can house so many different social ecosystems. I just think choosing two was a very smart idea. I love how games like this ultimately are like a test of character. They're like pushing the shopping cart back when you're done putting back your groceries. I like to tell myself that my first playthrough is how I would have personally played through it had I been in that situation, and then every other situation past that, every other playthrough past that, when I'm being the devil or the jerk or the neutral party, I just want to see what's going on. They'll constantly have you questioning your morals or mettle, and I just kind of like that idea of a game giving you questions. Not just like holding your hand and walking you down the aisle and being like, look at everything here. Like, I love it when a game turns around and goes, but what was that? What did you think of that? Is that what you would want? Now, what do we do now? You know, it kind of puts you in a unique situation. Right away, as Jar Rydek, you get to meet Captain Solano, and he comes across as a relatively, reasonable individual, but he wants you to kind of just parrot his orders and stuff like that. And initially, you're like, yeah, I kind of get that. Like, you guys stop messing around, clean up the ship, follow Captain's orders, just stop messing around. I can do that. Absolutely. No problem. But the first life or death situation in which you could potentially save 2 crewmates or kill 2 crewmates, Captain Solano is like, just kill them. Do not embarrass me. Blah, 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 blah. Dude, you come on, man. I'm not going to do that. 1, we're barely like an hour into the game, and 2, no, I'm not going to do that. I feel like I haven't been aboard the ship more than 15 minutes. Like, Jesus, dude. So already I'm on that guy's bad side, and, I kind of have to work on that, but that's on me. So, nice. But your choices affect the relationships between you and your crew, and that's really important. It's ideal, just like in life, to keep everyone in good favor, but realistically, you're going to end up, just like in life, pissing some people off and ending up on people's bad sides. And that can really be the difference between some people being helpful in a life or death situation or not being helpful at all. And it's not malicious. It's just they just genuinely don't think that you would care about their input. And they're not wrong to think that. They have every right to think that. So it is kind of interesting how you can manage those things, and you can ultimately be like, yeah, I don't really care for this person, but they give really good advice, so it's smart to just keep them in my circle. And I don't think any relationship is 100% unrepairable either. You can usually earn back somebody's respect, or at least get them into the neutral zone within a couple of decisions. But I like how each chapter essentially feels like its own episode of Star Trek. And they even get like their own little title card to like indicate that we're onto something else. Now, obviously, your choices from previous episodes impact the relationships with each chapter going forward. You guys kind of get how this goes. There is no results screen. You just keep going from chapter to chapter. If you do ever want to just check on how your choices have affected things, there is a menu that you can pull up, and that lets you see how your choices affected not only the relationships, but the outcomes of given scenarios. And I just want to applaud them for just making that so easy to access. Moving on to the characters and environments, I was not expecting them to have this high of a level of detail. I really wasn't. It's not AAA by any means, but it's a nice compromise between what is AAA and what I would assume is like an indie studio. And maybe I'm thinking everything is going to have that Telltale Games look, but I'm glad they went for the realistic look over something cartoon or cel-shaded. Some iconic characters appear and are recreated really well and ultimately look fantastic. The facial animations at times can sometimes give off a Uncanny Valley vibe, but, dude, if you grew up in the early 2000s, you kind of already have gotten past that. You're like numb to it. I feel like everybody gets way too up in arms about bad CGI nowadays. You guys watch The Scorpion King? Jesus. I got really off track there. I want to say this is the best Star Trek game I've seen. I went and watched a bunch of different YouTube videos regarding all the different Star Trek games that have come out in the past. And I gotta say, I think this one stays really true to its core identity. And I don't have a ton of experience with Star Trek, but I do understand Trekkies and their love for a series that has evolved over several decades. I swear to God, I had a boss that every day for lunch, this man would lock himself in his room, in his office, and he would watch, I don't know, like an episode or two of the original Star Trek. This man is in his 70s. That is, I understand that love. That is amazing. I might not understand the series as a whole. I feel like a lot of people just know what Star Trek is just based on the fact that it's been in the zeitgeist for God knows how long. And maybe, unfortunately, you know it from like Big Bang Theory, but God, I hope not. But this is what happens when a developer truly understands the franchise and its fan base. It's not just some space shooty pew pew open world RPG like game that people would want and maybe would sell marketably well to the suits, but Star Trek fans will enjoy this game like from start to finish. I guarantee it. So there we have it. That's my spoiler-free review for Star Trek Resurgence. If you couldn't tell, I am feeling a little better. I had one of the worst weeks of my life. I don't know what hit me. It was not the COVID, but I got really sick. There wasn't really much I could talk about during that time. I did put out the Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl, but I sounded garbage in that, and that was the beginning of it. So you can probably still hear a little bit. I'm still kind of coming out of it, but realistically, I didn't want to spoil a lot of this game. There's about 11 to 12 hours of playtime in total, but I didn't want to spoil anything because I'm really hoping you'll go check this game out. I think it's honestly worth your time. I really miss this narrative-driven stuff. You know, I'm glad to see that Dramatic Labs is carrying the torch on these narrative-driven games. Now, I haven't played The Expanse from Telltale. And I probably won't just because I don't really have an interest in the Expanse series, but it's really good to see that other companies can pull this off and do a really good job. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like or hit that subscribe button or even hit the notification bell. You know, I just appreciate you guys as an audience and stuff like that. And I do upload weekly video reviews, and I have a lot of reviews coming down the line. Again, every week I'll try and have something new for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching. You have a great night. Live long and prosper.